18 years of structural dominance. Zero replacements. Forever. As the current trend of that time was aggressive beats and heavy concepts. Instead of chasing standard teenage fantasy tropes, SHINee looked directly to an older, more independent female demographic with their famous Nuna framing. This emotional connection at the start of their long legacy provided them with a highly resilient public foundation that would shield them from early career burnout. That impact quickly spread from music charts straight to the streets. Almost overnight, the 5 members sparked the iconic SHINee trend, filling Korean youth culture with vibrant high-top sneakers and brightly colored skinny jeans. Before their arrival, local street fashion leaned heavily toward dark, oversized casual clothing. SHINee's visual style single-handedly shifted the aesthetic taste of an entire generation, proving they were trendsetters in both sound and style from the very beginning. By establishing themselves as trend originators both sonically and visually, they laid down the first bricks of a permanent cultural legacy. By 2010, SHINee entered a period of physical and technical development that would permanently raise the performance ceiling of the entire K-pop industry. The release of Lucifer introduced a level of complex, robotic choreography that had never been attempted on the Korean stage ever. This routine relied heavily on rapid, microscopic joint movements and intricate arm-locking sequences between 5 performers. It was so technically demanding that it quickly became a mandatory rite of passage for every entertainment trainee in South Korea. This era set an incredibly intimidating baseline, proving that what SHINee considered their standard floor was a height other groups viewed as their absolute ceiling. Their experimental streak also birthed one of the most culturally disruptive songs in Asian pop history. The frantic, addictive, rhythmic structure of Ring Ding Dong in 2009 possessed such a powerful psychological grip that the South Korean government officially labeled it a major distraction. It became widely recognized as the #1 song banned for students preparing for the highly stressful CSAT exam. The hypnotic, repetitive hook literally colonized the public consciousness, proving that SHINee could manipulate domestic pop culture on a mass scale. This performance peak culminated on the 19th of March 2012 with the release of Sherlock, K-pop's first ever hybrid remix single. By physically stitching 2 completely separate songs, Clue and Note, into a singular track, SHINee pulled off a brilliant music miracle. The accompanying choreography required the members to sprint across the stage in sweeping, 360-degree formations while delivering flawless live vocals. Unlike modern rookie performances that are heavily subsidized by rapid camera cuts and digital stabilizing edits, SHINee executed these long, uninterrupted stages with 0 production safety nets. It was the definitive live stage conversion point, where casual listeners were forced to recognize them as the undisputed kings of the stage. On the 22nd of June 2011, SHINee initiated their official expansion into Japan, a highly insular and demanding music market that does not grant immediate respect based on external Korean fame. Unlike today's digital era where viral fame can instantly cross borders, finding success in Japan back then required a grueling, grassroots approach. The group had to build their reputation entirely from scratch. They traveled to small local venues and regional broadcast stations just to earn their spot on the stage. Japanese audiences were famous for prioritizing raw, live, vocal stability over flash styling, putting foreign acts through a strict musical trial. SHINee rose to the occasion by delivering flawless, completely raw, live vocal performances that set them apart from the competition. This relentless grind quickly transitioned into one of the most demanding arena touring schedules ever executed by a foreign group. For years, the members lived out of tour buses, traveling to mid-sized Japanese cities to perform demanding 3-hour live sets back-to-back. The sheer physical toll tested their muscle endurance and vocal stamina to the absolute limit. Yet, instead of backing down, they used these relentless tours to sharpen their live show and cultivated an incredibly fierce, multi-generational Japanese fan base that remains one of the most loyal financial pillars of their career today. For the first 5 years of their career, SHINee operated within the highly controlled, rigid creative boundaries of SM Entertainment's legacy production system. However, the release of Dream Girl in 2013 marked the beginning of a quiet corporate rebellion led primarily by main vocalist Jonghyun. He began chipping away at the company's rigid creative walls, advocating for the group to have direct control over their own lyrics and concepts. This historical shift culminated in 2015 when he penned the lyrics for View, a deep house track that completely rejected the heavy EDM trends of the era. By proving that an idol group member could write a national trend-setting hit, Jonghyun permanently opened the door for self-production across the entire agency. While Jonghyun pushed back on creative limits, the group also quietly challenged the public's rigid expectations of masculinity. Onew popularized the soft male image, using gentle vocal tones and approachable variety show presence to challenge the aggressive stoic masculine archetype. Meanwhile, Taemin pioneered a bold, boundary-pushing, gender-neutral aesthetic on live broadcast stages and conceptual editorial shoots. He utilized fluid movements and flowing fabrics to prove that raw performance power did not require traditional masculine aggression. This visual transformation was accelerated by Key, who took direct, hands-on control of the group's physical albums and stage fashion. Key challenged the assembly line album packaging standard of the time, arguing that a physical record should be a premium art piece. He successfully designed stage outfits and conceptual layouts, building the foundational aesthetic that would later define his retro-inspired solo projects. This cultural impact extended far beyond the clean boundaries of stage performance and album design. Jonghyun used his platform to normalize essential discussions about mental health, raw emotional vulnerability, and public social consciousness. He stood as one of the very few active K-pop idols to openly speak out on global human rights issues, including the 2014 Gaza conflict. Furthermore, he also stood as a vocal ally for historical comfort women and the South Korean LGBT+ community at a time when such advocacy was heavily penalized by corporate sponsors. By using his artistic voice to advocate for marginalized lives, Jonghyun proved that an artist's ultimate responsibility lies in genuine, compassionate human connection. In September of 2016, SHINee launched their 5th major concert tour, SHINee World 5, capturing them at the absolute peak of their active 5-member era. This concert cycle represented a massive departure from standard pop music staging, leaning heavily into high-concept musical theater and retro pop design. Tracks like Married to the Music and Woof Woof required the members to act as expressive theatrical performers rather than standard idol singers. Their performance showed a comfortable, family-like chemistry that could only be built through nearly a decade of shared hard work. They had completely outgrown the careful, anxious mindset of rookies, stepping onto the stage as the supreme, unbothered masterclass of live performance. But this masterclass in showmanship didn't appear overnight. To truly appreciate this stage, you have to look back at the historical tour run that built it. It started with SHINee World 1, where they first proved their arena-filling power. Then came SHINee World 2, which unlocked an unmatched, aggressive physical theatricality. By the time they launched SHINee World 3 and SHINee World 4, they were commands to an empire of glowing pearl aqua oceans, completely rewriting what a live K-pop show could look, sound, and feel like. This era captured a beautiful, highly fragile equilibrium between individual artistic maturity and collective unit cohesion. Each of the 5 members had developed a highly recognizable professional brand, yet they continued to return to the group with complete humility. Backstage footage from this tour reveals a profound, unforced maturity where corporate management was no longer required to enforce discipline. The five of them operated as a single, self-governing creative team that fully understood its own history. It was the golden peak of their physical five-member journey, a moment of absolute, undisturbed harmony. On December 18, 2017, the global K-pop community was shattered by the tragic, untimely passing of main vocalist Jonghyun. For many legacy groups, a loss of this magnitude signals the permanent end of their active recording career. The remaining four members faced an overwhelming wave of public grief, intense media scrutiny, and deep personal trauma. Yet, rather than stepping back or letting their history fade into nostalgia, they took the time they needed and made a courageous, highly deliberate choice to move forward. They chose to honor Jonghyun's artistic soul through active, breathtaking musical collaboration. The release of the Story of Light trilogy in May 2018 served as their official statement of survival and continuation. The lead single, Our Page, by onew, Key, Minho, and Taemin, as a direct, beautifully raw letter to their brother. The vocal arrangements of the song were meticulously designed to leave literal physical and acoustic space in the live mix, allowing Jonghyun's presence to remain a permanent part of the harmony. When performing their classic discography live, they refused to re-record his iconic lines or hire backing vocalists. Instead, they let his original vocal tracks ring out clearly through the arena speakers, standing in respectful formation as his voice soared over their hearts. This uncompromising commitment to their five-member reality reached a historic, highly emotional peak on the 25th of May 2025 with the release of their 17th anniversary single album, Poet Artist. Named as a loving mirror to Jonghyun's posthumous 2018 solo record, the title track utilized his original, unreleased demo vocal track. The remaining four members entered the studio and deliberately adapted their modern vocal tones and pitch registers to blend seamlessly with his historical guide vocals. And the result was a respectful acoustic synchronization that allowed all five members to sing together in a new song once again. By sharing this piece with the world, they proved that their creative bond remains completely unbroken. They are not a four-member group surviving a tragedy. They are, and will forever remain, a five-member unit. In 2024, the group celebrated their 16th anniversary with a highly publicized, deeply warm reunion appearance on the mainstream variety show Hang Out With You. This appearance immediately captured the Korean public's attention, showcasing a chaotic, deeply affectionate, brotherly connection that felt completely unscripted. But the video commentary also brought a sudden, deeply meaningful moment of reflection. The show brought fans back to the past, reviewing their hit releases. It might seem cliché to some, but for Shaol's, it means everything to see the members doing well. This authentic presence proved that their longevity was never a mere corporate arrangement, but a tight-knit familial bond. And in the show, they got to the part where the members danced to their old choreography. This moment at that time was precious because of what they had been through together.
잘 준비해서 뵙겠습니다.
SHINee's back.
While reacting to their cinematic video, the members jokingly pointed out subtle hidden details like a 0525 keychain as a direct, beautiful reference to their original debut date of May 25, 2008. They discussed their journey not with heavy dramatic solemnity, but with a lighthearted, secure confidence that showed they had completely embraced the emotional weight of their past. This comfortable commentary highlighted their unique status in the modern industry. Despite entering their late 30s, the group continues to maintain a physical rehearsal intensity that rivals the youngest rookies in the fifth generation. During the grueling comeback preparations for Don't Call Me in 2021 and Hard in 2023, they demanded absolute synchronization and intense energy from themselves. This relentless discipline silenced any critics who assumed they would permanently transition into stationary vocalists. Even with their 2026 release Atmos, which leans beautifully into a house-inflected electronic style built on airy harmonies and sophisticated minimalism, their physical execution remains razor-sharp. And that shows that SHINee isn't continuing their legacy out of fame or engagement, but purely passion and connection that they have built within the fandom. New records will be broken, new digital milestones will be manufactured, and legacy acts will continue to fade quietly into history. Yet, no matter how fast the industry spins, it cannot replicate the emotional journey that SHINee had. Their 18-year survival stands as living proof that genuine performance outlasts any algorithm. They are the princes of K-pop, because they inherently understand that crowns are temporary, but legacies are permanent. The standard they built, the unbreakable bond they forged with Shawls, and the light they continue to carry forward ensures that no one will ever replace SHINee.